Close your eyes for a second and imagine that everything you're looking at right now isn't real. Imagine the chair you're sitting on, the light brushing your skin, the sound of my voice reaching you. What if it's all just surface? What if the world you've been living in is just a shadow of what truly exists? Maybe nothing was ever really hidden from you. Maybe they just taught you to look the wrong way. You felt it, haven't you? That quiet ache. That strange sense of something missing, even when life looks fine, like something sacred is just out of reach, even when your days are full, like there's a veil, a thin one, subtle, almost invisible, but always there. A veil between what's visible and what's real, between what's material and what's meaningful. Today isn't just another video. Today is a crossing point. Today, you're not just watching, you're being pulled through that veil, because you only see what you're allowed to. And what you've been allowed to see so far is just a sliver of the truth waiting behind the curtain. Right now, something in you is remembering. And no, it's not your mind, it's your body, your energy. Your soul knows this terrain. It's been here before. So if you're feeling that quiet yes rising in your chest, come. The surface never told the whole story. And today, it begins to crack. The surface illusion. Why 99% stay trapped in the first layer. From the moment we open our eyes in this world, we're taught to trust what we can see, touch, measure. The physical becomes our truth. Logic becomes our compass. Appearances define our boundaries. But what if all of that is just distraction? We're surrounded by noise, lights, screens, routines, deadlines, expectations, systems. It all feels real. But deep down, something feels empty. Like we're skimming the surface of something vast and calling it a life. The mistake isn't in seeing the world. The mistake is thinking it ends at what we can see. This first layer, the physical, is the most seductive illusion. It holds your gaze. It gives you things to chase. And all the while, it keeps you from asking the deeper questions. It's a beautifully designed trap, a sensory matrix that loops us in patterns, emotional, behavioral, even spiritual, so tightly repeated, we start to think they're normal, but they're not. Have you ever felt like you're living the same story, just with different people? Same arguments, same fears, same endings. That's not coincidence. That's programming. The surface feeds on predictability. It thrives on repetition. And the moment you start to break that pattern, to pause, to feel, to question, you shake the structure. And it doesn't like that. Most people stay here, in this first layer, chasing clarity in things that were never meant to satisfy the soul. Looking for answers in numbers, formulas, surface-level explanations. But if you're still here, still listening, I know something in you refuses to settle. You've already begun to see through it. This first veil, this sensory reality, it's not the full truth. It's just the first portal, the energetic web, where frequency shapes form. Beneath the skin of the world, there's a pulse. Beneath structure, there's vibration. There's a web, an unseen network that connects everything. You can't touch it, but you can feel it. Ever walked into a room and just knew something was off, or felt someone's presence before they even said a word? That's not your imagination. That's the field. This is the second layer, where energy moves behind matter, where emotions, thoughts, and intentions ripple through the unseen, shaping everything you see. It's not woo-woo, it's physics. Quantum science has already told us, the observer changes the observed. Consciousness collapses the wave. Reality bends around presence. The world outside responds to what's happening inside. We're not just bodies, we're fields, we're frequencies. And whether we're aware of it or not, we're constantly broadcasting something into the world. But we weren't taught to feel. We were taught to think, to calculate, to push through. And because of that, we lose touch with the very system that's running the show. Your energy is the blueprint behind your life. When it's out of sync, you feel it. Things fall apart, emotions loop, fatigue sets in that sleep can't fix, but realignment doesn't have to be dramatic. It starts with presence. Put your hand on your chest, slow your breath, feel your heartbeat. Don't fix anything, just notice. Ask yourself quietly, what's vibrating in me right now? That's access, that's real work. This simple awareness is how you begin to touch the web. And once you do, the world starts to shift. Because what's messy out there is usually a mirror of what's vibrating in here. The symbolic layer, archetypes, geometry, and ancient code. Before anything took form, it had meaning. Before the world became physical, it was language. This is the third layer, the most subtle, the most powerful, the one that doesn't just shape the world, it interprets it. We live inside a symbolic code. It's not something you study, it's something your soul remembers. Every moment, every relationship, every conflict is carrying a message. Nothing is random, nothing is meaningless, even silence speaks. The trouble is, we were never taught how to listen. But your soul, it's fluent. You've seen these symbols before, in sacred geometry, in ancient myths, in those repeating life patterns you keep bumping into. You ever wonder why the same kind of person keeps showing up in your life? Or why you keep hitting the same emotional wall, no matter how many things change on the outside? That's not just life being unfair. That's the symbolic language of your soul speaking loud and clear. It's not coincidence, it's code. And the more you ignore it, the louder it gets. This isn't about superstition. This is about recognizing that life is mythic, archetypal, deeply intelligent, and it's always communicating. The outer world mirrors your inner landscape. Everything you experience is trying to show you something about your journey, your healing, your transformation. When you start reading the symbols, the pain starts making sense, the chaos starts revealing its structure, and the world stops being a battlefield and starts being a classroom. What themes keep showing up in your life? What archetypes are you playing out? Are you living the wounded healer, the seeker, the warrior, the mystic? When you know the myth you're inside, you stop fighting it and you start embodying it. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what's this trying to awaken in me? And that shift? That's when everything changes. Because once life becomes symbolic, nothing is just what it seems. The silent saboteur, how linear thinking blocks dimensional access. There's a prison more powerful than walls. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but it locks you in just the same. It's called linear thinking. We've been conditioned to move in straight lines, beginning, middle, end, cause and effect, problem and solution. As if reality follows a neat little checklist we can solve with logic, but the universe doesn't think like that. It spirals, it flows, it folds in on itself. It dances between dimensions, and the moment we try to squeeze that into a box of logic, we lose the magic. Linear thinking is useful. It helps us make plans, cross streets, solve math. But when it comes to the soul, when it comes to healing or purpose or awakening, it falls flat, because the real questions can't be answered in a straight line. Who am I? Why do I feel this way? What's the meaning behind this pain? Those aren't math problems, they're invitations. Invitations to think in curves, in colors, in symbols, in spirals. But school taught us to stay in line. Culture reinforced it. Religion often boxed it. The result? We've become logical, functional, and deeply disconnected. But here's the truth. Your intuition doesn't move in a line. Your soul doesn't speak in bullet points. It speaks in knowing, in sensing, in layers. And when you start listening, really listening, you realize something. You've always known. You've always felt the edge of something more, just waiting for you to stop thinking and start perceiving. Linear thinking asks, how do I fix this? Expanded awareness asks, what is this here to teach me? And that shift from fixing to feeling, from solving to sensing, opens the doorway. You don't need more answers. You need deeper questions. You don't need a map. You need a compass that points inward. And once you start thinking in spirals, you're no longer stuck. You're no longer blind to what's been there all along. Portal moments, recognizing when you're briefly outside the grid. There are moments when the world feels off, not in a bad way, more like too real, too clear, like time just paused, like something ancient just brushed past your shoulder and whispered, see, it's subtle, it doesn't shout, but you know it when it hits. Maybe it's déjà vu. Maybe it's that 1 second where everything feels connected, like every breath, every sound, every shadow is somehow in sync. Or maybe it's silence. The kind of silence that vibrates, that feels more alive than noise. These aren't just glitches in your brain. These are cracks in the code, tiny breaks in the simulation, glimpses behind the curtain. You've been outside the grid, even if only for a moment. And in those moments, something inside you says, this is it. This is real. You don't know how you know, but you do. Those aren't random. They're invitations. Invitations to pause, to tune in, to remember that the world is more than what it looks like. That you are more than a name and a job and a body moving through time. But here's the thing, the mind loves to analyze, and the moment we try to explain the unexplainable, we collapse the experience. We shrink it back down into something understandable, and the veil closes. These moments don't want to be understood, they want to be felt. So when they come, and they will, don't chase them. Don't label them, just stay still, breathe into them. Let the energy of the moment wash over you like a wave. That's your reminder. You are not locked in. You are not bound by the surface. You've stepped outside, if only for a breath. But one breath is enough to change everything. Story of disruption. The woman who saw the grid fracture. She wasn't on a spiritual path. She wasn't meditating or reading ancient books or chasing mystical truths. She was just living, getting by, carrying her pain like so many of us do, quietly, privately, pushing through until everything broke. One moment, a trauma, a shock, something she never saw coming, and when her normal life collapsed, something else opened. She didn't see angels, she didn't hear choirs, she saw structure. Grids, lines, layers of energy stretched across everything like the bones of reality itself. It wasn't a dream, it wasn't her imagination. It was realer than anything she'd ever felt. She saw symbols, shapes pulsing with meaning. Archetypal beings, not with faces or names, but with presence. With a kind of knowing that made words feel irrelevant. And more than that, she felt clarity, a kind of cosmic stillness that made all her confusion vanish. Just for a moment, everything made sense. And then, she was back. Same world, same people, same noises, but she wasn't the same. She started noticing things, feeling the energy behind words, behind rooms, behind intentions. She could read the patterns, even when no one else saw them. And suddenly the world wasn't just a place to survive. It was a system to decode. That one rupture, that break in her ordinary life became her initiation. And what looked like chaos, what felt like a breakdown, was actually a breakthrough, not into something new, but into something ancient that had been waiting underneath the whole time. She didn't go looking for the grid, but once she saw it, she could never unsee it. Living beyond the layers, the daily practice that changes everything. This isn't about escaping reality. It's not about floating off into some spiritual cloud, pretending the world doesn't matter. It's about integration. It's about learning to live with the body, through the energy, and in the language of the soul. Living beyond the surface isn't a one-time epiphany. It's a practice, a gentle, sacred rhythm. A way of being. It's waking up and checking in, not just with your schedule, but with yourself. How's your body? What's tight? What's aching? What's quietly screaming? What's the tone of your field? Is it heavy, scattered, calm? And underneath it all, what meaning is moving through your day? This is the three-way check-in. Physical, energetic, symbolic. It doesn't take time, it takes presence. Because when you live this way, life shifts. Suddenly your body isn't just skin and bones, it's a compass. Your emotions aren't just moods, they're messengers. Your experiences aren't just random, they're mythic patterns, trying to wake you up. The mistake isn't being in the world. The mistake is thinking the world is all there is. And when you stop running from your pain, when you stop numbing your feelings, when you begin to see every challenge as a coded invitation, you stop surviving and you start living, not above the surface. Not below it, but through it, fully, spiritually human. And that kind of life, it's not always easy, but it's real. And once you taste it, you'll never want to go back. You were born to see through the veil. You've felt it your whole life, haven't you? That low hum under everything, that quiet ache you could never name, that sense that there's more, even when the world tells you this is all there is. Maybe your pain wasn't weakness, maybe it was wisdom. Maybe the reason you've always felt a little out of place, a little too deep, a little too sensitive, is because you were tuned into something most people have forgotten. You weren't meant to live on the surface. You were born to see through it. Your struggle wasn't just about what you couldn't fix. It was about what you could feel. The energy behind the words, the truth behind the masks, the frequency behind the form. And now, you remember. This isn't a new truth. It's an old one. One your soul has always known, and now that you've touched it, even for a moment, nothing looks the same. Because once the veil is lifted, even a little, your vision changes forever. The surface was never the whole story, and now you know how to read between the worlds. If this message touched something inside you, that's because it was already there, waiting, ready, just needing a reason to rise again. This isn't the end. It's the beginning you've always carried inside. Drop a comment below. I am ready to see beneath the surface. And if you felt that pull, that quiet yes, hit the like button. Subscribe to Echoes of the Path. Not because this channel has the answers, but because it asks the questions your soul has been whispering for years. And if this opened something in you, the next video will take you even deeper. Watch it. Let it echo through you. And remember, this isn't content. This is your call. This is your echo from the invisible.